All right, let's talk about this bird. So it doesn't have like really pretty feathers. I can tell you that it doesn't know how to parrot words back at you. In fact, the cockatoo can't even fly. It's a bird and it can't do like the one thing that it's supposed to be able to do. However, all of these flaws do not make it any more acceptable that the cockatoo is an endangered species. So today we're going to talk about three different things. First, I'm going to teach you guys about the cockatoo as a species. Then we're going to talk about why it's so important to save it. And finally, I'm going to teach you how you can get involved with saving any endangered species in the world. So the scientific name for the cockatoo is the Rhinochaetus jubatus. Its common name, the cockatoo, means ghost of the forest. This is derived from the fact that it has pale gray plumage, and sometimes that's described as a ghostly color. It's a chicken-sized bird that has long legs so that it can run away from its predators, because obviously it can't fly away from them. And according to the San Diego Zoo, they only produce one offspring per year. This is a pretty important detail. Most birds have 3 to 5 offspring per year. The fact that the cockatoo only has one makes it really hard for it to recover its population size. The cockatoo is endemic to a French territory in the South Pacific called New Caledonia. Endemic just basically means that that's the only place it's found in the wild. According to the Britannica Encyclopedia, the main island of New Caledonia, which you can see in the picture here, is split down its middle by a mountain range. On one side is wide open plains, on the other is lush, dense forestry, and that's where the cockatoo lives. You can see highlighted in red. So the first threats to the cockatoo came back in the 1800s, when the crest feathers, those are the feathers that you see on its head, were sought after for use in hats or other fashion accessories. Since then, that threat has kind of died away. It's not really a problem anymore. But the other main threat that started back then has continued to today, and that is introduced dogs. What I mean by that is, when settlers first came to New Caledonia, they brought with them their pets, and with that came hunting dogs. Now, dogs are not native to New Caledonia, so they weren't necessarily part of the food chain, and so the cockatoos didn't really have any way to defend themselves from dogs. So if dogs got out into the wild, if they escaped from home, or if they were just left unattended, they would attack the cockatoo because it was an easy target for them. The cockatoo can run pretty fast, but not faster than a dog. And then according to birdlife.org, there's only about 250 to 999 cockatoo left in the world. So its conservation status, it was listed as endangered on the IUCN Red List in 2007, this according to archive.org. IUCN stands for the International Union of Conservation of Nature. Since its listing in 2007, it has maintained its status. However, according to edgeofexistence.org, a study that they did shows that the population is continuing to decline, and so if nothing is done within the next few years, this could change from endangered to critically endangered. There's one recovery plan that was presented by the IUCN Red List, and it has 2 steps to it. First is to assess the genetic structure of the cockatoo. Basically what this means is they want to assess the different gene pools of different subpopulations of the species to see if it's viable to try and forcefully combine those subpopulations so that they effectively create a stronger gene pool and have more reproductive success. The other part of the plan is to raise awareness about responsible dog ownership in New Caledonia. Basically, they just want to tell people to be conscious of their pets and make sure that they're not escaping into the wild to be attacking these birds. If they want to bring their pets to a national park or any forest preserve where the cockatoo might live, they are required to keep that on a leash. A lot of people don't often do that. So now we get to the why portion. Why is it so important to save this random bird? Does it have any specific value to you guys? My answer might surprise you. It doesn't really. There's no immediate effect that this saving this bird is going to have on you. It's not going to help you with your health. It's not going to give you any economic benefits. However, it does have something called intrinsic value. It's something we can't see or feel, or even feel the effects of necessarily, but it's there. A lot of times we talk about diversity in our own populations, but we sometimes forget that diversity can be applied anywhere else in the world. The animal kingdom, for example. The same way that we benefit from being surrounded by multiple different worldviews, backgrounds, or cultures, animals benefit from being surrounded by a variety of different species in their environment. So, For example, think of an entire ecosystem. It's basically a giant machine with thousands and thousands of tiny little parts. Take, for example, a bug that might eat diseased bark off of a tree so that it can live. Or maybe a shrub that grows close to the ground to provide shade and protection to an amphibian. Even a tree-dwelling animal that accidentally shakes a branch that knocks a fruit onto the ground that a terrestrial ground animal can eat. Ecosystems are so complex, and we as humans have had the most effect on these ecosystems in a negative way. I think that's what makes us responsible for finally doing something about saving these creatures. So how can you do that? Getting involved. Research is a huge thing. If you find an animal that you're even slightly interested in, just do some research on it. Taking this first step can really motivate you to do something about saving that animal. I know for me, I spent an extra hour and a half just watching videos about the kagu that I'm not even using in this speech, but it was a great motivator for me to get involved. Also, holding others responsible. If you see someone throwing plastic on the ground or not recycling, call them out. It's getting to the point where we need to make sure that we're holding each other responsible for our actions. Everything that we do affects the environment around us, and we have to make sure that we're protecting the environment so that the animals that live in it can stay alive. Also, the kind of highest tier of getting involved here is sponsorship or adoption. So a lot of wildlife foundations, such as the WWF, that is the foundation with the panda as its logo, a lot of you might recognize that. According to their website, you can adopt an animal, which basically means you give money that goes into research and conservation of that species. So overall today, guys, I hope you learned a few things. First off, I hope you learned some facts about the kagu. Second, I hope you learned how to get involved. But most importantly, I hope you guys really focused on my why. In today's society, it's so easy to forget that our world is very, very complex. We're so focused on ourselves rather than the animals that surround us. When a species goes extinct, it's gone forever. There's no way to get it back. When the last one dies, we cannot recreate it. So, if that doesn't scare you, I don't really know what will, but hopefully that motivates you to go out and do something about the animals that are dying in our world.